There are countless people in this world with ability, with talent, with potential, and they rot on the couch. They refuse to rise, refuse to study longer, refuse to sharpen their mind, refuse to go deeper, refuse to bleed a little more. And that is where the advantage is born. Not in gifts, not in luck, not in fate, but in refusal to stop. I hear it every day. I can't stay consistent. I can't stay disciplined. I can't hit my goals. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't. No, you won't. Because the moment hardship appears, you bow, you negotiate, you retreat. You call it balance. You call it self-care. You call it realism. I call it weakness. You say you can't do the hard things, and then you scream, as if screaming absolves you of responsibility. Yes, you can. But understand this. The world does not reward belief. It rewards action under pain. You don't strengthen your body by wishing. You don't sharpen your mind by affirmations. You don't build power by comfort. You work, you strain, you endure. And when quitting feels logical, that is when it begins. Never quitting is not bravery. It is humility. Humility to accept that you are not special, that you must earn everything, that shortcuts do not exist. You walked every road, you explored every corner, left turn, right turn, opportunity after opportunity. And when you fall short, it should never be because you held back. All of you share one certainty: you will die. So explain to me, why do you live cautiously? If death is guaranteed, why are you obeying opinions? Why are you listening to people who surrendered their own lives trying to instruct yours? Champions are misunderstood. People stare at them and ask, what do they have that I don't? That is the wrong question. The real question is, what do they lack? They lack an off switch. They do not stop. They do not negotiate. They do not rest when it's inconvenient. That is why they terrify you. And don't mistake this. They don't hate you because you failed. They hate you when you succeed. Because your success exposes their excuses. When you were invisible, they were calm. When you rise, they become hostile. That is proof you are moving correctly. Show them the real you, not the polished version. Not the comfortable version. Show them the version that bleeds, the unprofessional one, the one that doesn't need applause. That is how wars are won. You complain about distance, about effort, about inconvenience. How far is too far, you ask? No, the real question is, how badly do you want it? Pain is not evidence that you are failing. Pain is the entry fee. The road was never straight, it was never clean, it was never fair. It is crooked, hostile, relentless. And yet those who endure are rewarded, not with peace, but with strength. Get up, yes, you. I know it hurts. I know you're tired. I know your body is screaming. That is the point. One more rep, one more step, one more mile. And when you reach the end, you go again. Grinding is not inspirational, it is sacrificial. Your body will beg you to stop. When you grind for yourself, you quit. But when you grind for something greater, you endure. You were never prepared for comfort. You were prepared for catastrophe. That is why those who survive train as if everything can be taken, because one day it might be. And if it is, You must not break. Make life harder on purpose. Remove convenience. Create resistance. Pressure creates form. Comfort erases it. If you truly want to be better, you cannot live like this. If you want ease, this path is not for you. Cold mornings, injured joints, no excuses. Everyone has reasons, few have resolve. Most will not do what you are willing to do. And that is the separation. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the passport. Pain prepares you for rooms you are not yet strong enough to enter. Pain builds muscle. Pain sharpens instinct. Pain teaches dominance. There are no limits. Fear is an illusion created by imagination. You are already dying. Live accordingly. Build a legacy, not a title. When the small things matter as much as the big ones, you are aligned. You can return to the couch. You can sleep. But do not confuse rest with progress. This life does not reward comfort. It crowns those who endure. You believe the world owes you clarity. You believe effort should guarantee victory, that consistency should promise reward, that suffering should come with meaning by default. That belief is why you break. Because reality does not operate on fairness. It operates on survival. You say you're trying. You say you're consistent. You say you're doing everything right. And yet you are denied. You're denied the position, denied the opportunity, denied the recognition, denied the outcome. And you whisper to yourself, if I just stay here long enough, eventually it will work. No. Consistency does not guarantee dominance. Consistency earns you permission to compete. Intensity decides who wins. Many of you will never succeed, not because you are incapable, but because you are not ruthless enough with yourself. You train, but not with hunger. You study, but not with obsession. You work, but not with desperation. You want victory without total commitment. That is not how this world functions. This world was forged by war, shaped by pain, ruled by those willing to go further than morality allows. You fear hard work because you associate pain with loss. I associate pain with awakening. When you feel stuck, that is not confusion. That is stagnation, screaming. Growth demands destruction of the current self, and most people protect who they are instead of becoming who they must be. So they self-sabotage, they complain, they call it an existential crisis. No, it is resistance to evolution. You want reassurance, someone to tell you it will be okay. There is no one coming. When your face is in the dirt, when business collapses, when relationships burn, when effort is not rewarded, that is the contract you signed. Nobody told you because weak people lied to each other to survive their own regret. Painful days will come, emotionally, financially, relationally. And in those moments, you have only two options. Use it or let it erase you. The easy path and the hard path both involve suffering. The difference? One builds power, the other builds regret. The easy path ends quietly, with excuses, nostalgia, and resentment. The hard path ends with scars and authority. You want to know why success feels lonely? Because very few are willing to make the down payment of pain. And when you finally rise, many will despise you, not because you are cruel, but because your existence illuminates their surrender. Failure is not disqualifying. Quitting is. Every victor failed repeatedly. Every loser failed once and bowed. The difference is not talent, it is tolerance for humiliation. You must be willing to be exhausted, isolated, doubted, and ignored for years. No applause, no validation, no witnesses. That is the cost of power. When you are winning, do not be intoxicated. When you are losing, do not be deceived. Both states lie to you. You are not a god when you win. You are not worthless when you lose. You are only revealed by what you do next. You consume information. You follow the right people. You wear the uniform. You attend the gym. You sit in the library. And yet, nothing changes. Because this was never a skill issue. This is an intensity issue. You wait for permission. You wait for confidence. You wait for clarity. Action creates all three. Feeling stuck means you stop challenging yourself. Learn something difficult. Build something uncomfortable. Put yourself at risk of failure again. Movement restores power. Take advice only from those who want more for your life than you do. Most people give advice to justify their own limitations. You must become your own commander. No one is coming to motivate you at 4 a.m. No one will care when you're breaking internally. This is a solitary war. You fight because you know nothing else. There is no tomorrow. There is no perfect moment, no optimal conditions, no saved energy for later. You fight now, or you decay. You think you understand darkness. You do not. You fear it because you visit it occasionally. I was born in it. Pain is not something you escape. It is something you master. Once you do, nothing can threaten you again. Reach the point of no return, the place where quitting disgusts you, where comfort feels insulting, where excuses sound foreign. That pain you feel, that pressure, that internal resistance, that is the price of becoming dangerous. Success is lonely, authority is heavy, power isolates. And yet, it is preferable to a life of silent regret. This world does not need more dreamers. It needs survivors who are willing to become monsters and learn how to control themselves. You chase peace. You speak of balance, of harmony, of a world without pain. That fantasy is why humanity never changes. Peace built on denial is fragile. It shatters the moment desire appears. As long as humans want, they will fight. As long as they fear, they will lie. As long as they cling to comfort, they will betray each other. You don't suffer because the world is cruel. You suffer because the world is honest. Conflict is not an error. It is the natural state of existence. War is not the opposite of peace. It is its foundation. You want results without responsibility, victory without sacrifice, strength without suffering. That contradiction creates despair. The world does not reward morality. It rewards power aligned with will. This is why weak people preach kindness and resent the strong. They call dominance evil because they lack the courage to pursue it. But understand this. A world ruled by the weak is not a kind world. It is a chaotic one. Those who cannot govern themselves should never govern reality. So you must become dangerous, not reckless, not cruel, capable. Capable of violence, but restrained by discipline. Capable of dominance, but guided by purpose. A monster who chooses restraint. That is true strength. Most people never awaken. They numb themselves. They distract themselves. They drown awareness in comfort. They call it happiness. It is sedation. Pain is the only thing that wakes you up. Pain strips illusion. Pain reveals truth. Pain shows you what you actually value. This is why I do not flee from it. I use it. You fear being broken. But what truly destroys people is never considering the possibility. They collapse at the first fracture because they believed themselves fragile. You must assume catastrophe, train for loss, prepare for collapse. Condition your mind to endure absence. When nothing can break you, nothing can control you. That is freedom. The path you walk will not be celebrated. You will not be understood. You will not be supported. You will be criticized by those who could never survive your discipline. Let them speak. Their words are evidence that you are ahead of them. The moment you stop seeking approval, you become sovereign. You are not here to be liked. You are here to become. You will fail. You will bleed. You will question yourself. And yet, you will rise again. Not because you believe in yourself, but because you refuse to tolerate weakness. This is not motivation. This is truth. If you choose the hard path, you will suffer. If you choose the easy path, you will also suffer. One forges meaning, the other erases it. This is the point of no return. Once you see reality clearly, you cannot unsee it. Once you awaken, you cannot return to sleep. You either step forward and accept the burden of strength, or you retreat and live quietly in regret. The world will not remember comfort. It remembers those who had the will to impose order on chaos. Decide, not tomorrow, not later, now. Because there is no tomorrow. Only those who act and those who watch. And history is never written by the ones who watched.